The restaurant went quiet in a way that felt heavier than noise. Forks paused mid-air. A glass stopped halfway to someone's lips. At the corner table, a woman with trembling hands stared down at her plate, wishing she could disappear into the white tablecloth. "You can leave if you want," she said softly. "I'll understand." She didn't look up when she said it. Across from her, the divorced dad didn't move. He didn't reach for his coat. He didn't glance at the door. Instead, he did something that stunned everyone at the table. But no one there knew why her words had cut so deeply. The dinner had started awkwardly. Mia had arrived 10 minutes early, checked her reflection in the restroom mirror 3 times, and almost walked back out the door twice. Blind dates were already terrifying. Blind dates as a divorced single mom with a past she didn't like explaining were worse. When Ethan arrived, tall, broad-shouldered, with kind eyes that looked permanently tired, she felt a flicker of relief. He smiled easily, asked polite questions, talked about his daughter with a gentleness that made Mia relax just a little. Still, her stomach stayed tight. They ordered. Small talk filled the gaps. It was fine, normal, almost safe. And that was what scared her. Halfway through the meal, Ethan mentioned his divorce. Not bitterly, not dramatically, just honestly. He spoke about shared custody, school pickups, learning to cook meals his daughter would actually eat. Mia nodded, listened, smiled when she was supposed to. But inside, the clock started ticking. Because this was always the moment when she either told the truth or waited too long and watched everything collapse later. Her fingers tightened around her napkin. "I should probably tell you something," she said suddenly. Ethan looked up, attentive. "Okay." She hesitated. Her throat burned. Around them, the restaurant buzzed with laughter and clinking plates, completely unaware of the quiet storm at their table. "I have a son," she said. Ethan smiled. "That's not a problem." She swallowed. "He's not biologically mine." His smile didn't fade, but his eyes sharpened slightly, not judgmental, just alert. "I adopted him," she continued, "when he was 4. His mother was my sister. She passed away. I promised I'd take care of him." She forced herself to keep going before courage ran out. "He has special needs. Some days are hard, some days are really hard, and I know that's not what most people sign up for on a first date." Her voice cracked. "So," she finished quietly, staring at her plate, "you can leave if you want. I'll understand." That was when the room seemed to freeze. Ethan didn't answer right away. Mia's heart pounded so loudly she was sure he could hear it. She waited for the polite excuse, the gentle rejection, the familiar look of sympathy mixed with relief. Instead, Ethan slowly set his fork down. Then he stood up. The movement drew attention from nearby tables. Someone glanced over, curious. Mia's chest tightened. She braced herself for the embarrassment. But Ethan didn't grab his coat. He stepped closer to the table, pulled out the chair beside her, and sat down next to her instead of across from her. Mia finally looked up, confused. "You don't get to push me away that easily," he said calmly. Her breath caught. "I didn't say that to be dramatic. I meant it." "I know," Ethan replied. His voice was steady, but his eyes were shining now. "That's why I'm not leaving." She shook her head slightly. "You don't know what it's like. The appointments, the stares, the way people disappear when things get inconvenient." Ethan nodded once. "I do." She frowned. "How?" He took a breath, as if opening a door he usually kept shut. "My ex-wife left when our daughter was diagnosed. She said she couldn't handle a life that didn't look normal." Mia's heart dropped. "I stayed," he continued, "not because I'm some hero, but because she's my kid, and because love doesn't get conditional when things get complicated." The table next to them was gone silent. Someone was openly listening now. No one interrupted. Ethan looked Mia fully, not kindly, not gently, but honestly. "So when you said I could leave, all I heard was someone who's been left before trying to soften the blow." Tears slid down Mia's cheeks before she could stop them. "I wasn't trying to test you. I was trying to protect myself. I know, he said softly, but you don't have to do that here. She wiped her face, embarrassed. Most people say they understand, and then they don't. He smiled sadly. Most people haven't lived it. The waiter approached nervously, unsure whether to interrupt the emotional moment. Ethan waved him off gently. Bring dessert, whatever she wants. Mia let out a shaky laugh through tears. I didn't agree to anything. Ethan said, I know. This isn't pressure. This is presence. They sat there a moment longer, letting the tension drain away. Finally, Mia spoke. You really don't want to leave? Ethan shook his head. No, I want to know your son's name. Her lips trembled into a real smile. Lucas. That's a good name. I'd like to meet him someday, if you're okay with that. The words felt unreal. Not a promise, not a guarantee, just an opening. And for the first time in a long time, Mia didn't feel like she had to apologize for the life she was living. Around them, the restaurant slowly returned to its normal rhythm. Conversations resumed, plates clinked, life moved on. But at that table, something had quietly changed, because when she gave him the chance to walk away, he chose to stay.